Sia and Rachel Kolisi's We Are Trying Here, an LGBTQI Kenyan film, I Am Samuel, are just some of the films that will headline the fourth installment of the Africa Rising International Film Festival. Now, this festival, which kicked off on Thursday, is produced by young people and leading women in the African film industry. To tell us more, we are now joined by co-founder and president of the Africa Rising International Film Festival, Lala Tuku. Lala, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to you and to the viewers. Thanks so much for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure, Lala. Now, give us some background into the Africa Rising International Film Festival and what the inspiration is behind this festival.
Oh, absolutely. So Africa Rising International Film Festival is a premier festival. We debuted in 2018 in Johannesburg, as mentioned, produced by women and young people in the industry with the objective of giving voice to regularly marginalized groups such as women, particularly Black women, young people, people of the LGBTQI+ community, and people living with disabilities in South Africa and across the continent. So at its core, AFRI seeks to address issues of accessibility, inclusivity, development, early introduction to the industry for the African child, and then networking and collaboration. So this year we seek to continue building on our mandate to give room to all of us who can appreciate the power of agency and stand in our truth.
And you've had so much on your plate since launch. I mean, how has this festival evolved and grown since its inception in 2018?
We've certainly grown. I think key has been even the films that we're able to put together to showcase. This year we have over 30 films from the continent, Tanzania, Egypt, Nigeria and South Africa. It's been incredibly amazing. Also from an audience point of view, because one of our pillars is to, grow audiences in terms of appreciating our African content. We've got audiences, we've got experts, industry experts that also come in through our AFRI talks, which are masterclasses provided by industry experts. In fact, just now at 9 o'clock, we're going to be having a session with the IDC that's going to hone in on funding of African content. It's been really an amazing thing. And I think for us, because we wanted to focus on women, on young people, on the LGBTI+ community, we've really curated a program that speaks to that.
And why was it so important for you to establish a festival produced by young people and leading women in the African film industry?
At the core of it, I engaged with a study that was commissioned by PwC in 2018. And it spoke to, 100-year-plus-old industry that highlighted that transformation still lags behind. And as a producer, as an actress, as a director in the industry, that really did touch me because I also understood the journey that I had gone in. There are no women in key decision-making areas. There's a lack of ownership. There's a lack of information, accessibility to the industry. So it became quite pertinent as I was chatting to the co-founders as well, in terms of creating a space where we could promote, where we could highlight, where we could really, be part of a change. So really at the top of it, our theme is Film for Change. We're not also tone deaf to the issues that are happening in the country. So whilst we want to be part of, developing a value chain and increasing that number of participants in our industry, we also do look at the social issues. So it's an important platform in terms of really, balancing the scales, if you will.
Now, speak to us about this year's festival and what has taken place since Thursday.
We have been so excited about this year. We opened with a powerful short documentary, which is, again, new to Film Festival in terms of the choice. We Are Dying Here. A real intimate portrayal and highlighting the real issues that we face in everyday life South Africa when it comes to gender-based violence, when it comes to rape, when it comes to femicide. And they started off as a poem and moved to theatre, and we see it now in cinema. So that was our opening film. Today we'll be showcasing Mandla N's film, Boxing Day, in partnership with Showmax. And throughout the 3-4 days, you can log on to www.arif.tv to really see this array of, films. We partnered with SWIFT, which is Sisters Working in Film and Television. And yesterday there was an afternoon of showcasing films produced, directed by females, and this was really encouraging. The NFVF also had a spot where they showcased the films that they had funded.
And given that the film festival opened on Thursday, tell us more about, the other activities beyond film screenings, including the Legend series taking place on Tuesday.
Oh, this is incredible. Yeah, so we packaged like a full program. You can check it on the website. The Legend series for us speaks to the preservation of memory and speaks to, really understanding and appreciating our own. So we dubbed it the Pan-African Legend series. And what we do each year is we celebrate and we honor a legend that we feel has truly stuck to celebrating Africa through story, to promoting, the African thinking. And this year, we give it to none other than 2 times BAFTA award, Ms. Xoliswa Sithole, which, her advocacy works just speaks for itself. And so each year, we really seek to promote, to highlight, and to encourage us being authentic in our storytelling.
Okay, let's talk about the significance of this year's theme, Africa in Me.
Yeah. So, our theme this year is My Story, Africa in Me. And really for us, it was about the collective consciousness and how it is that we wanted to make sure that we can still celebrate ourselves. Within the consciousness of a collective new world, we seek to unearth and, in fact, validate that each of us has a unique story to tell. A world in which we hear, which we see each other, allows ourselves to be firmly placed as a validating force, with the understanding that to be seen is to be heard, to feel that we belong and that we are not alone. Yeah. We are concerned with how each and every one of us felt. So our theme, My Story, Africa in Me, really spoke to how it is that we wanted to see ourselves.
Indeed. And having said that, the closing film, I Am Samuel, is banned in his own country. Is that the reason, perhaps, why the film festival chose it as the closing film?
Indeed, because true to our theme that we want to encourage that authenticity and we want to be able to tell our story. And because of our focus in the community, our queer members of our society, we thought, let us give it space. Let us give it its moment whilst it's banned in its country. So the producers are incredibly honored that we've had this opportunity. And that's exactly what this platform seeks to do. We want to have those difficult conversations. We want to have those urgent conversations. And it's really for all of us to rise as Africa and what it is that it's going to take for a collective rise of the African child.
And you were quoted as having said, we have been clear from the beginning on what we would like to achieve in terms of contributing to the creative economy of South Africa and the continent as a whole. So have you achieved all those objectives?
Certainly, and well, we try each year to make sure that we stick very closely to our objectives, and we do this through partnerships. This year we've partnered with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. They've partnered with us from the beginning. The Gauteng Film Commission, FPB. In fact, this morning we're going to be having a conversation around parental guidance for parents. FPB is in charge of classification of content, and our children are watching content, and this talk is around how is it that parents can safeguard their children. But in terms of contributing to the economy, the NFVF had done a study in terms of the actual contribution that the film and television industry contributes, and it was around 12 billion rand. Some induced and some uninduced the contribution in the economy. And so for us, it was worrying that people who are participating in that, are not women, are not our youth in the community, and the queer community and people living with disabilities. So each year then we want to make sure that we can take productions that are produced, and we can then partner with broadcasters who can then license this. And, we also have young people who we commission to tell their own stories. So definitely in terms of, participating and contributing to the economy, we want to look years back, 100 years back, and say that we were part of the change that we wanted to see, and we contributed somehow to the development and to the growth of the film industry, particularly for the African child.
Lala, what would it take for a film to make it to the Africa Rising Film Festival? I mean, do you look at the quality? Do you look at the content? Do you look at the talent?
We look at a number of things, aesthetically pleasing. We look at the issues that are being addressed. For the past 4 years, we have curated it through our film curator, Sihle Hlope, who is a young filmmaker, female, who's doing incredibly well. So herself, the festival director, Mr. Ayanda Sitebe, and I will then go through hundreds and hundreds of films, and we look at it thematically. But for year 5, we're really excited about year 5 because we really want to make it a big year for us. We will be doing a call and calling out for those films to come forward. But the past 4 years, we have been curating, and selecting ourselves the films that we'll showcase during the festival.
I mean, such films as I Am Samuel, which have been banned in their own country, what's the message that you're trying to put across by making it a closing film?
We wanted to close again. We are bold. We see ourselves as an agent for change.
Yes.
We see ourselves at the center of having these conversations. We need to be bold. We need to be robust. We need to be able to own our own narrative. And so this year, the film festival will culminate with I Am Samuel, filmed over 5 years in Kenya, which is an intimate portrayal of a Kenyan man balancing the pressures of, family loyalty, love, and safety, and questioning the concept of the conflicting identity. As you say, the film has been banned. So for us, it's really about that. It's about bashing down those doors and making sure that we profile ourselves.
And I certainly hope that you will keep on bashing down those doors and making, the AFRI, the film festival of note. Thank you so much for joining us, Lala.
It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
Great stuff. Now, the president of the Africa Rising International Film Festival, Lala Tuku, speaking to us about the 4th installment of the festival, which is currently underway. Now, the festival is an annual premier film festival produced by young people and leading women in the African film industry.